right, good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's enjoyed their Friday's Eve. The current time is 3:44 in the afternoon, and we're going to go ahead and break down your forecast real quick for those who may have to get out and run errands at around 4 and 5 o'clock and may miss the evening show. So let's go ahead and get into the details of that. First off, why would you want to miss the 4:30 and 5 and 6 o'clock shows here on KVU? Got some really good news headlines in addition to these weather headlines that I'm about to present to you. You may want to stick around for that. But in case you have things you have to do that require you to be out of the house, here's a quick look at your forecast, and it's looking really nice right now. This is the South Congress Bridge right there in the background overlooking Lady Bird Lake. And we are in the lower 90s, but look at this, Gillespie County, check this out. Not out of the 80s quite yet, but we're going to be very close to those triple digits as we head through Sunday. There is downtown Austin, just a little bit of ground clutter showing up on our radar. That is nothing that is falling out of the sky or hitting the ground. And the same goes for pretty much the entire KV viewing area. Not really much going on. Maybe a little bit of shower over some sections of Fayette County. But as we look toward the Brazos Valley, a little bit more of shower activity just off to the east there of Grimes County. But as we take a look at our allergens, we have grass and weeds still low. Mulberry still low. Mold is still elevated. And you could find this each and every day on KVU.com and the KVU app. And by the way, we did have some alternaria on our sensor this morning, so you're going to want to make sure that you are taking your allergy medicine if you are susceptible to that. Tonight, we're expecting muggy conditions, getting down to those mid-70s. We're calling 75 for a low officially. Tomorrow, we're going to be getting to those mid-90s. I'm calling 94 officially for a high. And as you head to the HEB Center tomorrow night, Texas Stars taking on the Abbotsford Canucks. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. and we'll be right at the 90-degree mark. And the outdoor air temperature could affect how the puck bounces inside. We saw a lot of bouncing pucks because of the unusually warm temperatures for a hockey game outside, and that could create some issues there. But we're going to be in the mid-80s by the time we get closer to the end of the game. The Stars need y'all. They're down 3-1 in the series. Hopefully we can get this win tomorrow night and bring that series back to that random city in British Columbia. We do have an area of high pressure that is sitting over the Lone Star State for Saturday, and that's going to catalyze a lot of the hottest temperatures so far of the month. That's going to move on off to the west as we head through your Sunday and eventually your Monday, and that's going to be replaced by a little bit of a trough, and that's what's going to create a little bit more of an active pattern for us as we head into next week. Another headline that we are watching is it's not only going to be hot, it's also going to be hazy as well. Look at this plume of Saharan dust coming in from the Gulf of Mexico. That is all coming from North Africa because you've got an area of high pressure and an area of low pressure pretty much next to each other over the Saharan desert, and that creates their monsoon season, and all of that dust from the monsoon season from those systems is carried all the way across the Atlantic, and it makes its way into the Lone Star State as we head through your Saturday. And that'll continue as we head through the course of your Sunday as well, although Sunday it won't necessarily be as prevalent as Saturday. Now, this week's drought monitor does show some improvements. In case you've noticed, last week we did have southwestern sections of Wilco in that extreme level of drought. That's now been dropped to the severe level of drought, so good news on that front. But we still got a ways to go. Still some areas of exceptional drought in the KVU area, including Blanco, as well as northwestern Hayes and western sections of Travis County, as well as central and western sections of Gillespie County in that highest level of drought, but still just simply plugging away at some of that drought here in central Texas. And we should see some more improvement as we head into Tuesday. We're looking at more of an active pattern, and the models are starting to come a little bit more into focus as well, looking at around 1.5 inches, maybe even 2 inches according to our European and GFS models. Difference is location of the heaviest rainfall. GFS has the hill country where we really need the rain because that really helps our highland lakes and that really helps the water supply throughout the Austin metro and points off to the east, whereas the European model leaves the hill country with just slightly less rainfall, but beneficial nonetheless. But it has the heaviest rain over portions of the coastal plains. And we already had some flash flood warnings last night over Bastrop and Caldwell counties. Now, the ground won't be as saturated by the time that system moves through because we're going to have a few days of that drying trend, but still something to watch for as they continue to have that drought eradicated over portions of the coastal plains. Now, 7-day forecast, triple-digit heat for Sunday. We're also going to watch the feels like temperature. I currently have it forecast at 106, which is heat advisory criteria, but we do have storm chances Tuesday through Thursday. That is going to be our active pattern for next week. So we're going to have a bit of a dry stretch before things get active again as we start and then head into the middle portion of next week. And oh, by the way, peak Wednesday's high though, 89 degrees. That is a very, very cool temperature for this time of year. So that's below average. And honestly, I know a lot of people are not fans of extreme heat, especially during this time of year even, but 89 has to feel like a bit of a welcome change. But by and large, this is definitely something that we're going to watch, especially once we get past the hot and hazy period. That would be Saturday and Sunday. So it's pretty much all we have for today. We do not have any questions. It doesn't appear. Let's see what we've got going on. We're at 7 minutes and 22 seconds, and it doesn't look like we have anyone who is commenting on this at this time. But we are going to show you a couple more things here, and with that, we're going to put the boxes up for that. We're going to talk about the Saharan dust a little bit. So this is the Saharan dust that's on its way here from northern Africa. And we're going to slowly move this forward a little bit. This is Friday, and it's looking at Friday around 10 o'clock. Even at around 10 o'clock tomorrow, we can start to see the onset of that Saharan dust making its way into central Texas. But then as you are waking up on Saturday morning, you're going to see a very vivid sunrise. And that's one of the effects of the Saharan dust is vivid sunrises and sunsets, because you get a little bit of that light refraction from that dust hanging around in the atmosphere. But then as we head through noon on Saturday, it looks like that's going to be the peak period for the majority of that Saharan dust between Saturday and Sunday. Now we're going to start off Sunday similar to Saturday with a lot of that Saharan dust, but it won't be as prevalent as what it will be for Saturday. So by and large, yeah, it's going to be hazy, but it'll be hazier on Saturday than it is on Sunday. And another thing to mention, it's also going to cause some air quality issues. So if you have chronic lung conditions, you want to make sure you're limiting your time outside. So there's a dry stretch tomorrow through Sunday. But then Monday and then on into Wednesday, we're starting to get that active pattern again, because we're going to have that trough coming in because that area of high pressure will have shifted off to our west. And that's going to allow for that active pattern to return to central Texas. And with that, we're going to have some good totals according to these latest long-range models. But the closer we get to the event, we're going to start using more of that short-range model, and that's going to really tell us whether or not we're going to get the heaviest rain in the right places. Because remember, yes, the coastal plains, y'all have some areas in drought. However, the hill country, that is vitally important, because we're talking about inflows into our highland lakes, and that's our water supply here in central Texas. Hopefully you guys have conserved water, who have been doing a good job of conserving water. That's very, very important when we are talking about a drought situation. Again, next 7 days look like this: upper 90s, triple digits, Saturday and Sunday, and even Monday as well, before that front moves in and gives us good chances for some of those thunderstorms as we head into the middle section of next week. So we have one, I think, hopefully I pronounced this name right, Zoila Salgado. She says hi. Hello, Zoila. I hope you've had a great week so far. The time is now 3:54 though. I do have to get ready for KVU News at 4. See you on air on KVU. Also, if you're watching us on KVU.com or KVU Plus or the KVU app or on Facebook or YouTube, we are going to be on KVU on air in the next 7 minutes. So with that, I'm meteorologist Jordan Darensberg. I hope everyone has a great Thursday. I'll see y'all in the next 6 to 7 minutes.